2019 meeting of the Fire and Police Commission. Present are Commissioners DeVogus, Wilson, Crowcroft, McKenzie, and myself, Commissioner Cabrera. Commissioners Soler and Crowther are absent. Also present are Assistant Chief Gerard Washington and Fire Personnel Officer Juliet Battle, representing the Fire Department. Assistant Chief Raymond Banks, Chief of Staff Nicholas Desiato, and Human Services Administrator Arvis Williams, representing the Police Department, and our Executive Director Lakeisha Butler. Before we go into our agenda, I would like for us to take a moment of silence for fallen officer Matthew Rittner, who was taken while on duty yesterday morning. I did not personally know Officer Rittner, and I'm not familiar with his record of service in the police department, but I do believe that any loss of life is a tragedy, and I do want his family and his Milwaukee Police Department family to know that this board feels your pain, and we extend our deepest condolences.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Butler, please proceed with the agenda.
First item on the agenda is public comment.
For public comment, each speaker will be limited to 2 minutes. Speakers are asked to state their name for the record and direct their comments to the commissioners and no one else. Please understand that under Wisconsin open meeting laws, commissioners cannot respond to comments about matters not on the agenda, so please do not be offended by that. We are receptive to hearing comments about items on the agenda and may discuss your concerns during the meeting when the agenda item is reached. Please remember to respect the time of your fellow citizens. When the timer goes off, please wrap up your thoughts and finish your comment. Our first public comment. Also, if you have any additional concerns or questions, I encourage you to contact the FPC office by phone or email and check the FPC website for information. Our first public comment is from Carmen Adams from Green Light Search Act.
Good evening. My name is Carmen Adams, and I am here on behalf of the Corey L. Adams Green Light Search Act. And my brother was the veteran that was missing a couple years ago, and the Green Alert was named after him. We are very concerned that the Green Alert is not being used properly. A few months ago, one of my mother's friends, who is a veteran, was missing, and when she went to her local police station to have a Green Alert issued, the police department said to her, "What is that?" And the Green Alert is supposed to be issued the exact same way that an Amber or Silver Alert is issued, and it is not being done as such. So we are concerned about that, and we would like to meet with the police department, including the chief of police, to make sure that the Green Alert is being issued the way that it's supposed to be issued.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next public comment is from Sharon Bloom.
Hello. I'm here voicing the concern along with the Green Alert. I'm representative of 2,800 employees of the United States Postal Service, the Milwaukee District, 3 unions. September 26th last year, we solidified, and we are going to come up with a Green Alert, Code Green postal policy. Everyone knows what a Code Blue is. Everyone is going to know what a Code Green is. I'm here to voice concerns with the Green Alert, picking off of Carmen. So.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
And our final comment is from Paul Mozina.
Thank you for this opportunity.
My name is Paul Molzina, and I'm just forwarding you a hard copy of the Standard Operating Procedure 760. And I raised this issue on January 10th, just commenting that the Standard Operating Procedure appeared to have been put into effect without any interaction with the board. And then Executive Director Butler did explain in her response that through the process that you all have defined, that this was an item that was determined to be approvable by the Executive Director and the Chair. And that was the decision that was made there. And what that resulted in was there was no communication to the public at all that the Standard Operating Procedure had changed. And it's not clear whether or not even the board themselves were aware that this, we know that the chair had to cooperate with the executive director to approve this standard operating procedure change, but there's no indication on the record that the board members themselves even got a look at it. The reason I passed out a copy of it to you is that I wanted to highlight the fact that there's like 5 new pages in this standard operating procedure, and I do want to read. Bear with me. I want to read the rules for in the FPC rules document. It says. A requested change, if not material, may go into effect with the approval of the chair of the board and the executive director. Otherwise, it shall go on the board's regular agenda for approval. Material change is one that creates an issue of legal consequence or controversy, or creates a change in the meaning or language of a document other than a routine update, or acknowledges changes in state certificate standards. So the reason I'm calling your attention to that is my opinion is there is quite a bit that was changed in the standard operating procedure that does have a legal implication. It is a legal, what is the terminology? Creates an issue of legal consequence or controversy and material change. I mean, for example, on the second page, bear with me just for a second. On the second page, there's the department recognizes the inherent dangers associated with controlled substances. It's right under, it's at 760.12. The safety of the department members is of the utmost importance while testing and inventorying controlled substances. And if it's true that this standard operating procedure is of the utmost importance to the safety of the officers, I would call that a material change, something that is of interest. And it says below, because of the high risk of exposure, field testing of any suspected controlled substance is prohibited. And there are many other, on page 3, the buddy system shall always be used when testing. Testing serves as evidentiary and safety need. There has to be a witness. This also has legal consequence. And I know I'm out of time, but what I'm trying to say was, if you look at these 5 pages that were added to the SOP, there's quite a bit of legal significance to those changes that are being made. It's about guaranteeing the safety of the police officers, and if something were to happen and that standard operating procedure wasn't there, like there was a fentanyl exposure, someone could really be seriously injured. But now that we have a standard operating procedure, that will be mitigated. And I know I'm way over time, so I appreciate your indulgence. I just wanted to call your attention to the fact that, in my opinion, this was a significant change with material and legal consequences. And I would hope that in the future there would be more communication about the changes of this substance. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. There being no further comments, this concludes the public comment portion of the meeting. We will now proceed with the consent agenda. Ms. Butler.
I will read the items on the consent agenda. Any member may make a motion to have any item that's listed in the consent agenda removed for separate action. Item A is the regular meeting minutes from the FPC meeting on January 24th, 2019. Item B is termination of Police Officer Maya A. Cabin from the Police Department. Item C is, nope. Hold on, got that wrong. Take that back. Item B is notice of termination of Police Officer Alex M. Wittenberger. Item C is termination of probationary police aide Maya A. Caban. Item D is correspondence regarding the suspension of Police Officer Christopher C. Agnew. Item E is the amended eligibility list for the position of System Security Administrator within the Police Department. Item F is request to approve the job announcement bulletin for the position of Marketing and Communications Officer in the Police Department. Item G is a request to approve the job announcement bulletin for the positions of Help Desk Specialist 2 and Help Desk Specialist 1 in the Police Department. Item H is request for an examination and creation of an eligibility list for the position of Information Technology Project Coordinator in the Police Department. And finally, item I is request for examination for the position of Garage Attendant with the Police Department.
Is there any objection to any of the items on the consent agenda? If there are no objections, these items are adopted.
Next, under unfinished business, we have promotion of Police Lieutenant Thomas J. Casper Jr. to the position of Captain of Police in the Milwaukee Police Department.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
What's the motion?
Is there a motion to approve?
Yes. A motion to approve the promotion of
Okay.
Mr. Casper.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Next, under new business, we have the request to amend Standard Operating Procedure 160, dealing with persons with mental illness.
Is
This-
there,
This item will be referred to the Research Committee.
Next item is item B, a request for residency extension request for Police Officer Ricky S. Lozano.
Move approval.
second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Under the Fire Department, we have request to promote Todd A. Christensen to the position of Fire Captain in the Fire Department. This item will usually be held over for interview for the next meeting. No?
Do you have to move?
Battalion chief and above? For the fire?
Yes.
Okay.
It's extension.
They want to promote him to Fire Captain, and they don't want it held over. They don't want him, they said typically we don't interview fire captains.
Because it's temporary?
Is it temporary?
Temporary?
It's temporary because the list is expired.
Oh, okay. So this is, to be clear, to clarify for the board, this is a temporary appointment of Todd A. Christensen to the position of Fire Captain because there's no list, and we're working on developing that eligible list. So he would be reverted back once there's a creation of a list. Yeah.
Understood.
Move to
Okay,
approve.
so we need a motion.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next item on your agenda.
Oh, you
Didn't mean to steal your thunder there.
Next on your agenda is a request to promote heavy equipment operator Lloyd D. Ellis to the position of Fire Lieutenant.
May I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next is a request to promote firefighter Michael J. Lowry to the position of heavy equipment operator in the fire department.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Under the police department, we have a request to appoint two individuals, Aleska M. Krosovic and Ryan T. Rasmussen, both to the position of crime analyst in the police department.
May I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And finally, under the police department is a request to rescind the exemption request that was previously submitted by the police department for the position of marketing and communications officer.
Move approval.
Second.
It's actually an information item. They're just notifying us that they're rescinding their request.
Oh,
It'll
okay.
be pulled from committee, and they'll do the civil service process for hire.
Yeah, civil service exam.
That's it.
And with that, that concludes the business on the agenda for this meeting.
Move to adjourn.
So, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are now adjourned.